Convicted child molester Jarvis Butts was recently beaten in a county jail awaiting trial for one of the worst crimes I've ever covered on this channel. Not only is he facing two unrelated molestations of a 4-year-old and another 13-year-old, but also the murder and molestation of 13-year-old Nazia Harris. This is the reason inmates will throw their entire life away when they see pure evil like this. Before I get into the ass whooping that he took in the jail, let's discuss one of the worst failures that cost an innocent girl her life. January 9th, 2024, Nazia Harris will go missing. They realized she wasn't home. The aunt, the grandma, you would think they'd be going crazy. Where's our baby girl at? They called the school and say she's missing after waiting 24 hours. Now this is a 13-year-old girl, and you wait over a day to call and report her missing? Now that doesn't make sense. So you would think, okay, they fucked up. Maybe they were being in denial. They call the school. Why wouldn't you call 911? Okay, you called the school, and of course they called the police. No, they didn't report it to the police for 30 days. 13-year-old girl, Nazia Harris, was last seen on her school bus. As it took almost 30 days for any authorities to be called about this missing girl. You start to understand the evil at play. Now, we already know DCF, CPS, all that, they're going to fail your children. The schools are going to fail your children. Law enforcement are. They're not going to do anything until they're forced to. However, this is a whole different level of evil. You always protect your children. You listen to your children. You go to war for your children. You document everything. And this is why you see inmates throw their entire life away to kill one of these motherfuckers. This child molesting piece of shit did 10 years in prison for molesting a 13-year-old girl. He was released around 2014. That's where he moved into the house of Tara Harris, Nazia's aunt and sister of her mother. Now, first and foremost, you just brought a convicted child molester into your home around a 13-year-old little girl. And when she goes missing, you wait almost 24 hours to call the police? Well, not even the police, the school. I've never heard of that. It's one thing to call the school to check, call 911, call every agency possible. But you just called the school and then that was it. And when they waited over a month, you didn't do anything to, try to say, hey, I have a convicted child molester living in my home. No, her excuse was he was a good father. That's exactly what she said. Yet, CPS had been contacted multiple times regarding the household. Think about that. They went to a home with a convicted child molester about him having fucked up relationships with this little girl, and they did nothing. Their excuse was, despite being a convicted sex offender, Butts' familiar ties, the lack of sufficient monitoring allowed him to remain in the proximity of children. Oh, and it gets worse. So the little girl goes missing, Nazia Harris. This piece of shit Butts doesn't get charged for almost 8 months. Yes, it took to September 27, 2024 for him to be indicted for the murder and molestation of the little girl. But like I always tell you guys, they don't give a fuck until they have to give a fuck. And this is a perfect example. The little girl has been missing for 8 months. A convicted child molester lives there. The convicted child molester had CPS called on him for fucked up relationships with this little girl. Guess what? He gets arrested for molesting a 4-year-old and another 13-year-old girl prior to his arrest of the murder of Nazia Harris. So you wonder why parents feel they need to take the law into their own hand. Convicts look at these motherfuckers and know that they're gonna go home and hurt somebody worse, that they're going to literally do it more cunning. They're gonna develop a system. That's why they are tortured and gutted on the inside. And you'll see a dude with only 5, 10 years gladly get a life sentence. Or you'll see someone like Cain Velasquez chase him down the street and start shooting at the car. Not because they feel this is what they wanted to do. It's because they feel there's no other option. Yet, when the evil is coming through the front door and given to you by your own parent figures, your aunts, your grandmas, it breaks my heart for this little girl. It took 8 months and he was finally arrested. The real reason is because he got on the radar after he was arrested for molesting 2 other little girls. Oh, but it gets much worse. So when they arrested him, he acted like he didn't know what he was talking about. He even tried to act like he's some pimp, like dude that's just talking to so many women. No, you're a pedophile piece of shit. And they would start to look into his phone. They would start to look into his digital footprint and realize this motherfucker was searching for ways to get rid of a baby, an abortion. He had conversations with this little girl, this 13-year-old little girl. Then they start tracking the phones. It would lead them all the way where they would find the 13-year-old Nazia's clothing, a onesie, a shoe, and other items linking her to the area by the river. They would then do more research as they looked into his phone and found out not only was he seen with her at his shop where he has a tire changing, oil changing, like a mechanic shop, they would see he was searching for this: abortion methods, dangerous substances, antifreeze. Literally the same day the little girl was missing. Now, of course, they had surveillance footage, explicit text messages, where it would lead him to a motel where Harris, the 13-year-old little girl, was seen alive. Though they didn't find her body, they would find her school ID, personal belongings, and it all tied into the pattern of that day for the Chomo Butts. Now, check this out. Butts was not even considered a suspect. Think about that. A child is missing. Child molester lives in home, and he's not considered a suspect. They say because he never had no real relationship with the family, no direct connection to child abduction charges, outside of molesting little kids, little girls. It just blows my mind how they let our children go to the slaughter. Now, this is a whole different level, as the auntie brought the evil in, fed the evil, and loved the evil. In my mind, she groomed that little girl. She did whatever that man wanted, as this is his MO. I tell you guys time and time again, these predators, they go to where a single mom is, and they listen to see if anybody, baby dad, anybody is around, uncle, any father figure, any man. And when they start saying fuck him or fuck them, they immediately know they got one. No man, and listen to me, no fucking man that you date that's a convicted chomo pedophile, period, should be ever hanging out with your daughter, your kid, your nephew, your niece, anything. That's why it goes without saying that this aunt led this little girl to the slaughter. As of this month, he's on trial fighting a first-degree premeditated murder, second-degree criminal sexual conduct, and child sexual abuse activity. Let's not forget that the little girl went missing January 9th, 2024, getting off her bus. Check this out. They didn't arrest Butts till 2024 of April, but for completely unrelated sexual assault charges on minors, a 4-year-old and a 13-year-old. But here we are, all the way to September. While he was in custody, they finally charged him with Nazia's murder. The school said they can't release information on why they never called authorities for over a month. DCF, who was called multiple times, just didn't care that people were calling and saying this child molester is doing some strange shit with these kids. They just let it happen. We live in strange times. We must protect our kids from their own mothers, aunts, fathers, stepdads. Trust no one. In December 2024, this piece of shit Chomo would have the shit beat out of him in the jail. Though it wasn't anything serious, having his lip busted, his face bruised is a constellation to what he will endure for the rest of his life. After the beating, he would cower away, as all these predators are victims in prison. Stay out, stay free, us.